So we begin with unlocking one of the most important, you can say, shifts or trends within the learning ecosystem. So now, before I deep dive into each of these mega trends, let me explain the structure of these slides a little bit so that it would be easier for the audience to understand. So we have organized information in similar manner across all megatrend slides. So within each megatrend slide, you will see the respective subtrends being highlighted and is supported by certain notable data-driven or qualitative signals which demonstrate how these subtrends are emerging or how they are going to evolve in future. And then we have included the future trend outlook for each of these mega trends, starting from what it is going to be in the short term, that is in the time between today and within next 3 years, then what it would be in the midterm, that is in the next 4 to 11 years, and what it would be in long term, that is in next 12 to 16 years. So now, if we have to look into the future growth trajectory of the megatrend education and skilling development, we clearly observe there are two main shifts or trends. That is the growth of lifelong learning and also the escalation of adaptive learning. By lifelong learning, we mean the need for workforce or employees to continuously learn throughout their professional careers. Now, why do they need to do that? Why they need to continuously enhance their skill or continuously upskill their knowledge? This is because we have seen an expanding influence of technologies like AI, robots, and AR, VR in future job roles. And this will actually drive the need for the employees to adapt to a lifelong learning path. These digital tools will also lead to new experimental ways in which companies can actually implement this lifelong learning programs. And to substantiate this particular fact, we have brought certain research estimates from companies like IBM, which recently estimated that by 2022, as many as 120 million workers in the world's 12 largest economies were reskilled because of AI and intelligent automation drive. And World Economic Forum further estimates and adds another 85 million to this already existing 120 million to be reached by 2025. So we already see an increased, you can say, inclusion of digital technology and tools which are enhancing the learning ecosystem. That is where we get our second subtrends within this education and skilling evolution megatrend is the adaptive learning, which means the use of adaptive learning tools like AI algorithms, streaming videos, gamifications, and online collaborations to personalize and enhance the overall learning experience. Now, we already see the infusion of these AI enabled learning tools being used across various sectors like the military. The US military, for example, is increasingly embracing this adaptive learning technologies to modernize their training and education curriculum. And by doing this, they have found tremendous benefits like uh, they have seen a reduction in 40% training time and more effective skill acquisition and retention. Again, we also see AI-powered tools being used by educators today for providing personalized feedbacks like grades, assessments, and also are using to provide more guidance to the learners. For example, The AI-powered grading tools such as Gradescope are increasingly being adopted in educational sites to enhance efficiency and also reduce the time that the educators are spending on grading. And research have indicated that these tools can actually decrease the grading time by more than 70% compared to the use of traditional grading methods. Next, if we have to understand what is the evolution of these megatrends, then we see that in this short term, the because of the accelerating pace of technology innovation, it will be reshaping both the workplace, workforce, as well as across industries. And this continuous learning and skilling adaptation will not only be used for getting certain benefits, but it will be an essential thing for the workers in order to thrive in this new landscape. In the midterm, adaptive learning will be adopted through a more personalized teaching methodology that will allow learners to progress at their own pace, and this will again this will take place by integrating both virtual and in-person experiences. We also observe a societal shift towards lifelong learning in midterm. And by 2040, we expect that there will be a greater access to tech-intensive tools such as augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, and sophisticated coding software. Micro-credentials will be as common as diplomas and majors, and we'll also see the mindset that will move towards viewing these academic learning as a concise and focused experience as opposed to what it is now being a lengthy and time consuming process. And so we will see the rise of mini mesters, which are semesters and are the condensed session that typically take less time as compared to the conventional semesters. So we can conclude that this educational landscape will undergo a significant transformation, which will be driven by factors like technology advancement, changing preferences of young generations, and also the evolving demands of the workforce. Now, since this education ecosystem will be highly impacted by the technology advancement and innovation, we see that technology advancement and innovation will also play a huge role across all industry.